So this is Gen Con 2015. We're with Eric Lang here, and he's going to talk to us about the others.
This is the others. That was awesome.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. Well, yeah, we'll get the yeah. All right.
Just intercut a stadium.
Pardon my extreme fatigue. It's Gen Con Day 3, only Day 3. So, the others. Do you need the? I'll put this down here. The others is Cool Mini or Not's next big Kickstarter venture. It's coming out It's going to hit Kickstarter in approximately September. It's a huge game. I'm calling it a pre-apocalyptic board game, horror game, of corruption, temptation, and redemption. So one guy is going to play the force of the 7 sins of the apocalypse. These guys with the same hair. And the up to 4 other players are going to play a group of heroes, vampires, werewolves, dude bros with railguns, trying their best to not die as quickly as they are inevitably going to. Just saying, with that little dangling preposition there, I was saying that you are going to die. This is one of those games that is not easy. Every bit of it is the intent of the game is to kind of feel like you are in a Ridley Scott version of a horror movie where you guys are the underdogs that are basically, you know you're going to die all the time. You're like Paul Reiser's character in Aliens. And this guy is Ridley Scott, but after having way too much coffee and just absolutely wishing you could kill more characters on screen. That's me. So in this, we're going to play one quick scenario. This is it is a scenario-based game, but I wanted to plug as much replayability into every scenario as possible. So there are 6 different stories in the core box, but each one of them has a number of different plugins that change the way it plays completely. And so we'll start here. So we're going to play a story called Haven's Last Stand, which is the introductory scenario. It's the most straightforward one. It's you guys are going to have to kill a whole bunch of monsters before they bathe the city in its own blood. I didn't say it. It says it right there in the text. So there's a storyboard here. The goal of the game is for the heroes cooperatively. They have to make their way through the story. Oh, that's a good point. They have to make their way pitifully through the story by finishing these missions in order. Going through here, picking one of these missions, and then finally finishing this one. They do that, they win the game. The 7 Sins player wins by just annihilating heroes. There's always, every team, no matter how many players, there's always going to be 7 heroes on the team. Everybody's going to pick one hero to start, and the rest of them are going to go in reserve. When, not if, but when your heroes die, you're going to get a new hero from the reserve to replace them. When the hero dies and they can't be replaced, you lose the game. So you guys got to finish the mission. I got to kill you.
Sounds fair.
Now I did design this game to be one of those this is not a role-playing game. This is a game.
Attendees, the time is a little after 5:30. You have less than 30 minutes to complete your purchases for today.
All right. This is not a game where this guy's supposed to take it easy on you. This game player is encouraged to make your lives as miserable as humanly possible.
He wants to kick the crap out of you.
Absolutely, and is not going to hold back. So I'm not going to. So every game you're going to play against one sin. This game you're going to play against the sin of pride. Rawr, you're too proud to live. Every sin has a global effect that changes the way the game plays for you guys. And there's also going to be, that's the plugin number 1. The next plugin is the Acolytes, the general ground troop that you're going to be fighting. They have a special ability that they get to use once per round. So there's a whole bunch of different ones of these, a whole bunch of different sins. So depending on which story, which setup in the story, which team you play with, which sin, and which acolyte you play with, that constructs the scenario for that game. So for math guys out there, there's about 49 different variations of every particular story that you can play. So, the 49 being 7 times 7. So everybody's got their tentacle? Great. So, The board actually, every game starts with a whole bunch of guys already on the board. So like there'll be acolytes, abominations. This avatar here is so strong he can't even begin the game on the board. He has to wait until he gets unlocked by the story. Because once he comes out, you guys are just dead. That's how it goes. So we have like, what? That was mean. And the game also starts off, the board also starts off on fire. Because why not, right? Why not start there? Lots of tokens. These, by the way, are prototypes. They are not final graphic design. This is just what a game designer can do with his limited graphic design skills. I've memorized this setup by now. The back of every story card, by the way, tells you this is not final graphics. It gives you the number of different startup scenarios, setups that you can have. Each one does play very differently. The setup tells you how to set up, how to put the monsters on the board, what tokens to put on the board, etc., etc. So you guys are the heroes, the poor, soon-to-be dead heroes. You guys start over here. Every scenario tells you where the heroes start. So you start here. Here in the Gentleman's Club.
Sorry.
It is a family game. What do you have, Leia? So in there you got Rocco. No, you have Brad. And you got, who else we got here? Morgana. Nope, Morgana's there. Oh, Rocco and Brad. Brothers in arms. So, every round is structured by the story. Every round, the first something terrible is going to happen. Then all players are going to act.
We're missing one.
He's not playing. Yeah. It's up to 4 heroes, so it's up to a 5-player game. He's just observing. He's judging us.
Silent.
First something terrible happens. Then all players are going to take their turns moving around the board and starting fights or trying to resolve crises on the board. And in between players' turns, the Sins player is going to have a number of reaction tokens that he can choose to use between your turns to react to you and send monsters after you and do other horrible things. At the end of the round, another terrible thing happens, which has to do with the Apocalypse track, which unlocks new powers for the Sins and makes new terrible things happen for the rest of the game. So, general theme, terrible things are going to happen, don't. Heroes, although you guys are armed with a lot of cool stuff. So, you guys have all heroes have a fighting stat, they have a skill stat. Fighting is how many dice you get to roll to destroy monsters, because no matter what scenario you're going to play, you're going to be destroying monsters. And skill is how you can resolve crises. Crises are the different types of tokens that can be on the table that make your life miserable, and I forgot to put some on. I know, right? What's a game without tentacles? These tiles with tokens on them, when you leave the space or enter the space, they're going to do terrible things to you. The Sins player gets to roll dice against you to try to corrupt you or just burn you. But some characters can use their skill to try to get rid of them. So this is one of those games where the heroes have to work together, they have to coordinate, otherwise they're just going to die. So you'll have to do a lot of like, all right, I'm going to go in here and clear these out so that you can come in later and take these guys out. Heroes can also pin monsters so that they can't move, so the Sims player can't pincer you and destroy you. It's one of those kind of games. When you get into combat, he wants to be on the shot. When you get into combat, so do you want me to just run you guys through a quick example of how combat works? So let's say, for example, Morgana wants to go over here. She moves over here and she starts a fight. When you start a fight, you guys there are 7 dice for the heroes in the core set, and there's 7 dice for I'm missing one. 7 dice for the bad guys. When in doubt, if you're wondering if there's a value of something that you're in doubt, the number's probably 7. If you're in a fight with somebody, you would roll, so let's say Morgana gets in a fight here. You would roll as many, you have to pick a fight with everybody that's in your space. You roll as many dice as you have fighting stats, so you would start off rolling 3 dice. The bad guy, before you roll, the bad guy will add up the dice of all the monsters in there. Let's add a corrupt doctor in here, why not? I would get 3 dice for the abomination that's there. I get another 2 dice here for the doctor that's there. That's a lot of dice being rolled against you. We're going to roll to try to hurt each other. And this is the key to the game, before you start a fight, every hero has a corruption track. You can choose to take corruption before you make a roll in order to finesse your roll a little bit. If you choose to take corruption, you move your tentacle up 1 on the track, and you get all the benefits up until that point. Those cubes are an extra die. You can get automatic defense, automatic damage, and it keeps going. The more corrupt you are, the more powerful you are. So let's just say, for example, there you go. You've taken 1 corruption, so you're going to get an extra die for that. Keep it on die. If there was another hero there, you'd get an extra die for that hero helping you. Look at this, we're just helping you out. So just give us a roll. It's a lot of fists. All right. So, you rolled this, I rolled this. Every fist that I roll is going to deal 1 damage, is going to do 1 wound to you, unless it's absorbed by some kind of defense that you have. Every fist that you roll is going to do 1 damage to one of my monsters. You need 3 to kill him, 2 to kill him. Shields will protect you from damage. They just add to your natural defense. These are redemption icons. They protect you from corruption rolls. If I rolled a tentacle, it would corrupt you further. So these are not actually going to protect you. This is only useful in skill. So you unfortunately did not kill anybody, but you got 5 damage coming in. 2 are absorbed, but one's going to, 2 are absorbed by these, 2 are absorbed by your natural defense, 1 goes through. Every time you take damage, you have to take one of these little broken hearts. You got to put it on one of those red spaces there, covering up one of your abilities.
Oh, so then I can never move up to...
You can move up to it. You're just going to lose that ability when you get there. So you have to choose which ability you want to lose on your track. The first one's a gimme, right? There's no effect. But future wounds you have to decide, oh, well, maybe I don't want the extra dice up here. Maybe I don't want the extra hits. Damage hurts. It's just a downward spiral for you until you're dead. You take 5 wounds and you lose the game.
So no matter what happens, this game's going to get harder as we progress.
It's going to get harder and harder and harder. There's fire, there's death, there's corruption, there's all that stuff. Okay? That's generally, now I'm just going to try a different roll here real quick. If you had rolled, say, there, perfect. So there's a fist damage for you. This is the faith symbol. You guys are all part of an organization called Faith, which comes together, has a cool acronym and everything. That is a wild. That's going to be anything for you, but it's also an exploding die. So you get to roll an extra die on top of that. And then after the rolls are done, you can choose this to be any symbol you want. So in a lot of combats, even after you roll your dice, you get to make there's a bunch of cool choices you have to make, and it's some trade-offs, right? Either you're going to be like, all right, well, I'm taking a lot of damage coming in, or maybe I want to prevent some corruption, or maybe I just really need to kill all these guys. Those are the basics of combat. So what's going on with your corruption track, which is the central point of the game? If your hero gets to a maximum corruption, they cannot corrupt anymore. You cannot get any more benefit from corruption. And additionally, if you get into a combat, anytime the Sins player, we have exploding dice too. Anytime the Sins player rolls a tentacle against you, it's an automatic wound that you cannot absorb. So you hit max corruption, you just spiral down. Those are the very basics. Other than that, so every player has 2 actions per round. So every round you guys would choose as a group who's going to go first. So you would go first, and then you use one of your action tokens to say, all right, I'm going to use this my turn to move up to 2 spaces and then do my action, either start a fight or try to resolve crises. You would go, I would react. you also have a city action token that you get to use once per round. This is your city. You guys are defending this city against us. Every city has cool little abilities that you can use once per round as a free action inside your while you're moving or while you're fighting. You can choose to use this district's ability just by putting your city action token there, and you get all the benefits, like healing wounds, healing corruption, gaining bonus turns, getting cool upgrade cards, which are all available up here. There's 5 upgrade cards available at all times. You can get cool stuff like hazmat suit that protects you from token damage, brutality gives you more damage on fights. Lots of cool stuff in here. You just choose which one of those upgrades and then replace it. And finally, you get to use your Eye in the Sky token. There is every game. Yes. So that's beta prototype. So you guys actually have access to an orbital laser satellite platform. You use this ability here. You can move your orbital laser sight up to 2 spaces and then just auto kill any monster that's in that area. Single target. Just gone.
But you have to be on that space.
You gotta be on that space and you gotta use your city action there. Once you've used a city action in a space, nobody else can use it. So you guys do have to, coordination is key. You guys have to talk about where you're gonna go, who's going to go where, who's going to do what, who's gonna take care of which monster. So why are you doing all this? The story, right? These are your goals. You have a little tentacle. Tentacles mark everything. While you're you can only gain credit for any mission that you're on while you're on that mission. So for example, in this one, the first thing you have to do is you got to gear up. You guys have to equip 4 different upgrade cards. So you keep track of your successes here. So your goals, eyes on the prize, is that you want to get upgrades. Monsters are going to stop you, they're going to shoot you and doing stuff like that. You can just keep track of your goals by moving this up. As soon as you do that, you guys as a group have to decide which of the next missions you're going to do. Right? Either in this one you have to destroy 4 abominations in the same round, or you got to clear out 2 pentagram tokens, which I didn't put on the board. Oh yeah, there's one. You got to clear out 2 pentagram tokens, and then you finally in this one, for the end of this one, the sins player, which is me, would mark 4 different monsters on the board. You got to kill those 4 monsters. You do that, you win the game. Sounds easy, but good luck. Meanwhile, while all that stuff's going on, this is one of those games where the only thing this is a game about mitigating disaster for you guys. You guys cannot possibly mitigate all the bad stuff that's going on. You have to choose carefully what you're going to mitigate. While all this stuff's going on, the bad guy has an apocalypse track, which is going to go up round by round. It's going to unlock new powers for him, new apocalypse cards, which tell you new terrible, which will, like, when they get unlocked, they're just new terrible things that are bad for the rest of the game, right? So let's say, for example, this one comes up. We just got it. The bad guy got access to a new Hell Club member, one of the secret Illuminati characters that are in there. This character comes up, who's a 4 dice, 4 defense monster. Whenever she wounds a hero, she sets the space on fire, right? You kill her once, she's dead, but that's just a new bad guy that we get, right? It could do more. It could do things like, oh, look, all monsters can move an additional space, which makes them much easier to swarm. These last for the entire rest of the game. So this is a timer that's on you guys. As this goes up, the game gets worse and worse and worse for you. Until it hits 7, and then every single round you guys take 2 wounds and you take 2 corruption. So you got to finish that mission or you're just dead. That is The Others.